So for my research remix, I chose to focus on the generational trauma that exists between the relationships of Art and his father, Art and his mother, and Art and Risho. I chose to present this in the form of a blog or multiple blog posts. I did exactly 10. And then I also, on top of the 10, I added first an introductory blog post that sort of explains that Mouse was a true story about Vladek Spiegelman's experiences during World War One, and how it's a graphic novel that illustrates mainly the perspective of Art Spiegelman and Vladek on either end of the spectrum. And then I also go into specific blogs about like each part of Art's mental psyche and how each specific relationship affects him internally, externally, through what he does on a daily, and just how, like, for example, he interacts with his psychiatrist. That's one of my blog posts. And I also reference his mother's suicide. I go into a few panels about that. And I also expand on his relationship with Risho, how he constantly feels like he's being compared to Risho. Even though he's dead, he can't really do much about it. He is constantly compared to literally a picture of Risho's perfect face. It can't be altered in any way. His parents just have a specific image of a perfect son that he's being compared to in their minds, and that eats away at Art's mental psyche, just like his own inner worth. And then also, more specifically, in regards to his relationship with his father obviously went through some incredible tasks within the Holocaust, and it's just very hard for Art to sort of stack up against that. He feels as though his internal problems they don't have weight, that nothing can be compared to his father and what he went through. So again, my blog posts touch upon that. And then a similar theme with his mother. He also feels like he's partially responsible, because when he asks his mother, or his mother asks him, if he still loves her, he responds, "Yeah, sure, Ma." He's like pretty nonchalant about it, and he internalizes this and goes over it probably many times in his brain, and this sort of results in a trickle down effect that just leaves him spiraling, thinking about it. And also, we sort of see like a triangle relationship in one of the slides. I focus on how his mother, and his father are all, his father is like very affected by his mother's death, and he's also struggling with that relationship with his mother. But at the same time, he has to comfort his father. And what other blog posts that I chose to focus on, they go into the aspect of parentification. So when Art has to take care of his father, he's assuming a parental role of being a caretaker and just overall like condoling his father, when it should be vice versa. And so that's what really parentification is. It's like when the child assumes the role of the parent, and it results in negative effects on their brain, or in some cases positive effects, depending on the situation. But in here, with Mouse, we can obviously see that it's a negative effect for sure. And then artistically, I chose to show all of these different aspects through specific blog posts, and I incorporated certain panels into each blog post. So like there'll be a panel, and then there'll be an image that goes along with each panel, sometimes two. And I also cited them, and they're directly from the graphic novel. And then at the very start of my blog, I put a picture of the title of the book, Mouse, and I really zoomed in on Mouse, and I kind of cropped out the lower half of the book because I thought it was fitting. And then that would be pretty much everything other than my works cited page. And I also chose to look at two sources from the school library that sort of touch upon parentification. One source is specifically with Polish children, and the other source is more of a broad getting an understanding of what parentification is. And I sort of use either of those or both of them to define what parentification is and how it's applicable to mouse.